Well, you're pessimistically right, and it's no good, denying it. I think youth services have been on the front line of some of the cuts. Not everywhere. There are some places that have actually thought outside the box. They've actually taken a longer-term view on this, and they're actually doing some smart stuff. And invariably, those areas where they're doing that, they've absolutely got young people in and sat them around the table and said, right, how are we going to work on this together? There are some interesting opportunities coming up, though. Beyond all the headlines and ongoing dispute about the Health and Social Care Bill, the establishment of the Public Health and Wellbeing Boards, I think, are real opportunities here. Because if they are to work properly, there's now proper engagement they will create between health services, children's services, youth services, and everybody else, with some pooled budgets, with people having a shared strategy. And I think if for those to work properly, then we need to use them as a real source of funding and other resources and professionals who are doing some really smart work about preventing dangerous behaviours amongst young people and encouraging positive behaviours. And Myplaces, again, I think can really feature within those public health boards. Because the one thing that we've done really badly in the health service over a number of years is public health. It's always been about how many little old ladies can have their hips replaced within a certain number of weeks, and we haven't done nearly enough about are we encouraging properly healthy lifestyles, be it around obesity, substance abuse, binge drinking, mental health CAMs, etc., etc. I hope this is going to start to address the balance in an integrated way, because the thing about so many of those healthy lifestyles is it's not sexy. You've got to know how to engage young people to get that message across. And if you take something like sexual health and teenage pregnancies, I think we're quite good in this country at getting information across to young girls. I think we're absolutely rubbish at getting that information across to young boys. And young boys, and I've got information shops and places where you can go for sexual health advice in my constituency. 7, 8 out of 10 of people going to them will be teenage girls, and we have got to think smarter about how we engage those teenage boys in football clubs, in sports venues, in other places where it's cool for young men to go to do other things, and whilst they're there, let's do some subtle selling on some healthy living messages too. Myplace centres could be doing that. Loads of teenage boys coming into this place to do sporting things, football things, whatever it might be. I was at one in, God, where was it? I mean, so many places. It was Hackney or Tower Hamlets, Myplace Centre there, where they had the coolest sexual health nurse on the planet. They were queuing up to go and see him. He'd really got something that those kids were engaging with. I don't think that's really related to the original question, but what I'm saying is there are some opportunities there. And what I'm trying to do on Positive for Youth and what I'm trying to do in giving the voice to young people will be to highlight to local authorities that you are being very short-sighted here if you're just slashing a bit of the youth budget without thinking of smarter ways of doing it. In my local authority, they've made cuts in local youth services, but actually we've had a real engagement with other voluntary youth organisations who can do things in a different way. I've got some leverage to do that, to make sure that it's not just going and disappearing, it's being done in different, more imaginative ways that are bringing new forms of partnership, new forms of finance in it as well. Social impact bonds, big society bank, using business sponsorship. I've got a group of 20 businesses who are already doing some really good stuff with youth organisations, and they see a mutual benefit to their business for doing that. I'm using them as ambassadors to recruit hundreds more as well to link up. We just need new partnerships and new ways of doing things, because I think youth services, of all the public services, have been largely unreformed since the Albemarle report set them up 50 years ago, and that's why when there's heavy reliance on public money, that's why when there is a squeeze on public finances, they are in the front line, and we've got to make them far more robust in the future.